Flood Safety Masterclass Trilogy Part 3. The 10 wrong beliefs about flood protection.
Flood Protection Secrets. The podcast to the protection against heavy rain and flooding by Dr. Flood, Andreas Klippe.
So the big challenge is, how can house owners like you and me get a flood-free home? How can business managers like you and me get a flood-free company? And how can public servants provide flood-free critical infrastructure and livable cities?
Flood Protection Secrets. The podcast by Dr. Flood, Andreas Klippe. This podcast is for foresighted and proactive people who do not want to shovel the muddy water out of their room while standing in the midst of the disaster.
Therefore, those who design and plan, the architects and engineers, need to construct such buildings and cities, and that even when the entire environment is completely flooded. That is a challenge, and this podcast will give the answers.
Flood Protection Secrets. The podcast by Dr. Flood, Andreas Klippe.
Hello and welcome to this final part 3 of our small and short Flood Safety Masterclass Trilogy. In part 1, I talked about the hidden weak points. These were the 7 hidden weak points. In part 2, I talked about the 6 human costs of flooding. And today I will talk about the 10 wrong beliefs about flood protection. I once visited a business owner after a severe flood. That happened quite often, by the way. And he looked at the destroyed equipment, the damaged cars, the mud covering his production floor, and he told me, "Dr. Klippe, I thought we were safe. I thought flooding only happened to others." This is the most dangerous belief of all. The belief that it won't happen to me. Most people do not lose their property because nature is too strong. They lose it because their beliefs were too weak. This is why today, in part 3 of our Flood Safety Masterclass Trilogy, we will expose the 10 wrong beliefs, the myths that cause good people, good families and successful businesses to lose everything. And not to forget the municipalities and the government who are responsible for the critical infrastructure, like hospitals, schools, universities, public libraries, and public transport, energy, and telecommunication, water, and so on and so forth, whatever critical infrastructure is considered, and whatever belongs to the municipalities and the government. So we have the 3 parts, the private homeowners, the business managers, and the public servants for the public municipalities and government. So let's talk about the 10 wrong beliefs, because they are all the same for all these 3 groups. And I want to add, there's a group 4 that I didn't mention, and these people also show the wrong beliefs. The architects, including the engineers who at the end build construct these buildings. So that is group 5. Group number 4 are the architects. Group number 5 are the contractors with the engineers. They also share these wrong beliefs. If not, they would insist in the plans to change the plans and tell to the customers, "My dear customer, I can construct, I can design you, and I can build you your house, your building, your commercial center, your airport, your hospital, your power plant, whatever it is, or shopping mall or private house or your villa. But if you don't include flood protection, you might lose everything because of this and that." And that is what I try to share during this Flood Safety Masterclass Trilogy. If you haven't listened to part part 1 and part 2, just go back. The previous episodes, easy to find, and then you can just listen to it again. So the 10 wrong beliefs are what? The first wrong belief is, it won't happen to me. This belief destroys more buildings than storms do. Flood hits, first-time locations, elevated areas, non-coastal properties, places that never flooded before. Today's rainfall doesn't follow yesterday's rules. Climate change has rewritten the map. No one is out of danger zone. That is why I do not understand. There's one of the biggest insurance companies in the world, and their field engineers are running around and telling to everybody, yeah, you need a hydrological study. I always say, you don't need a hydrological study. Just look to the watermarks from the previous 20 years, and you see that these watermarks are increasing, and that the impact of flooding is getting closer and stronger, and the periods are shorter in between. Then I can tell you already what will happen next time. You do not spend weeks and months and what are these sorry to say, but what are most of these hydrological guys are doing? They rely on statistics of weather stations, weather reports, statistic data that is old-fashioned, that is 20 years old sometimes, where the new supermarket, commercial center or airport is even not included in the design. And that is what they take, and then they deliver nice pictures with colored documents to the customers, and they ask for a lot of money for it. For me, it is completely rubbish. Completely rubbish. You don't need it. I really must say it is dangerous, because that leads the people to wrong beliefs. Because and at the end, they don't get one single solution how to protect themselves. These guys never tell you anything. They only tell you, you have a risk. Sorry, my dear friend, I knew already before that there is a risk. When I look to the sky and I see the storm approaching, I know what to do. I do not need to ask anybody because I know it will rain in a few moments. Okay, that was the introduction. Now let's run through the 10 wrong beliefs about flood protection. Number 1, it won't happen to me. I just shared to you. No one is out of the danger zone. Number 2, we are high enough. We are elevated. Many buildings sit above rivers, but get flooded from the street, the drainage, the parking area, neighboring land, blocked canals. Being above the river is meaningless if water comes from somewhere else. Number 3, wrong belief number 3 about flood protection. Sandbags are enough. Sandbags are, here comes the truth, slow, heavy, dirty, weak, leaking, unsafe, practically useless today. A sandbag is not protection, it is a symbol of outdated thinking. Number 4. Wrong belief number 4 about flood protection. We already have drainage. Drainage is designed for the past. Rainfall today is for the future. No drainage system in the world is designed for stalled storms. Record-breaking rainfall, 200 to 400 millimeter in a few hours. Drainage helps, but is not protection. A drainage system is not a flood barrier. It is not designed to be a flood barrier. The wrong belief number 5 about flood protection. We have flood barriers. Somewhere. Many buildings bought flood barriers years ago. Okay, not the buildings bought the flood barriers, but the owners of the buildings. So years ago and now, and that happened to me some years ago. The customer said, okay, we already have flood barriers. I said, okay, why do you call me? You don't need me. We don't use them. They are so heavy and we don't use them. So, what is the reason for most of the people who are in a similar situation? Nobody knows where the flood barriers are. Nobody knows how to install them. No one has ever checked the gaskets. The stuff has changed. The new stuff even does not know that there are flood barriers. not to talk about how to use them, how to operate them, how to clean them, how to store them. And storage is completely unorganized. And very often, that's what I want to add, are parts missing. They are stolen, used for something else, whatever. A barrier without a deployment plan is not protection, it is decoration. The wrong belief, number 6 about flood protection, our supplier said it's strong. A supplier's promise does not, you know me from the previous episodes, when I'm shouting out loud the word not, it becomes important. A supplier's promise does not equal safety. A real flood barrier must have marine-grade aluminum, when it comes to demountable flood barriers or swing-hinge flood doors or lift-hinge flood gates or steel supports, M16, M20, M24 anchoring instead of junior screws, tiny screws that are only good to hang a picture, photo at the wall. Friction welded sleeves. That is what you cannot do. You cannot weld like that. For friction welding, you need high efficient machines. Only a few companies are having these machines. They are specialized to do so because they use turning machines, and the steel elements become so hot when they are turning, and the friction friction results in the high temperatures that makes the materials connected to each other, so weld to each other. And that gives the stability. So anti-theft compression clamps, when you compress demountable or slot-in flood barriers. No trenches. I'm always wondering that people are using flood barriers and they press them into a trench. That is not modern flood protection. Certified performance like FM Global ANSI 2510 classes. Not a simple certificate that tells something. And sometimes, sorry to say, I hear from customers, they said, there is a supplier and they make a water test. I said, okay, great, that is good. What exactly are they doing? We take a water hose and then we rinse it a little bit. I said, what are you doing? You rinse it. That is like taking a shower. That is not water pressure. Or have you ever experienced water pressure from the ocean or the swimming pool when you dive 2 meters or 3 meters deep and you take a shower? Is that the same pressure in your ears? Of course not. And that is what they call a hydrostatic test. That is even not a water test. That is nothing. Or they take a water jet and they point the water jet against the barriers. That is not a hydrostatic water test. The hydrostatic water test is that you build a swimming pool around your flood barriers. You fill it with water up to 1 meter, 2 meters or whatever is required. And then you check whether the system is leaking. Now, there are always some small leaks here and there that can happen. But the leaks must be negligible and within the norm. And that is a hydrostatic test. And these FM ANSI 2510 barriers are tested 72 hours. Even with kinetic impact, that means somebody is hitting against the barriers and hitting against the middle support, and it is still doing the job. So that is certified performance. And of course, you need a professional installation, not with people, I always say, from the street. Then sometimes the people tell me, oh, Dr. Klippe, that is expensive, the installation. I said, what is expensive? That is compared to what? Compared to the local situation. There's one example I want to share with you. There was a project in I don't mention the country. It was in India, I can say it. It was in India, and I talked to the general manager, a very, very kind person, and he agreed already about the flood barriers I recommended. And then when it came to the installation, I said, I don't remember the price at this time that was something about $700, $800, or I don't remember very well. And he said, oh, that is expensive. I can get somebody from Bangladesh here. He is working for $200 a day. I said, okay, fine, take this guy. And the answer of the general manager after a few seconds was, but he does not know how to install the flood barriers. I said, you see, That is why. Because we educate our people, we train them, we send them in other countries that they get experienced. You cannot take somebody who has never done these things. Yes, the systems will not be properly installed and you will not get protected. That is a truth about it. If you take somebody who is designing your high-rise building and this guy is not an educated architect with experience, what do you think will happen with your building? Why do you take pilots who have run through an education system for years just to get the license to fly this airplane, and then they are not allowed to fly the 747 or the 777 or the Dreamliner or whatever from the beginning? They start with a small airplane. That is called education, and that is the same level of safety what is required for the pilots that we need or you need to require for the installation of your flood protection system. So ask your supplier about these guys, and sometimes when it is very, very special, especially when it comes to automatic systems, then we fly in specialists from Europe. Because in huge parts of in the world, you simply don't have these people who are experienced enough to install such systems. You need many years of experience to do it in a correct way and to supervise the local helpers or local fitters. Yeah? Okay, professional installation. Documented engineering is also what you need. So you need documents that later, when it comes to revisions or maintenance, for instance, everything is clear, and an architect who might change something here or there is well informed and can rely on the plans. So if a supplier cannot explain their engineering in detail, please walk away. Wrong belief number 7 about flood protection. Maintenance is optional. I hear that all the time, especially when I talk to contractors. I tell you frankly, sometimes I really get mad about it, because the contractors, of course, they only shall finish the contract, and the contract says, do the construction, the installation of this and that, in this case, flood barrier systems, make sure that they work for 2 years or 3 years, and then you can run away. That means that nobody cares about any maintenance. And very often when it comes to a new building, I hear from the contractor, oh, that is not under our contract after the 2 years or 3 years. It falls under the facility management. And then I say, okay, great. Let's talk to these guys. And then the answer is, oh, we don't know who it is because it was not decided yet. We are just doing the design at the moment. And that is a huge mistake by the customer, the end customer, the user, because they don't think about what will happen in year number 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10, 15, 25, and so on and so forth. After 3 years, many barriers no longer seal, have worn gaskets, have corroded bolts, have missing clamps, are blocked by stored materials, are simply forgotten. Good flood protection lasts 50 to 100 years. If maintained by trained technicians, I mentioned this word before. So you also need to train your own people, your staff. What we, by the way, always offer, we call it annual maintenance and refresher training as well for the staff. Because staff is coming and going. There is a day shift, there is a night shift. And there are people leaving the company, new people are joining the company, people are on sick leave, they are on vacation leave, they have no time to participate at the training. That is sometimes why we do several trainings during 1 week just to train all groups. Yes, that needs to be done. You cannot do that in 1 day if you want to train 60 people. Yeah? And it's more than one person, because if sometimes the customers say, oh, it's enough that you tell to our manager how to do. I say, okay, great, wonderful. And is a manager the person who is installing the flood barriers and operating the flood barriers in the middle of the night on December 31, 2 o'clock, nighttime? The answer is, of course, no, he's not doing that. I said, oh, you see? So who are these guys who are really doing it there? That must be planned, and these guys must need to be identified. So that is what I call with a professional training as well, including the maintenance knowledge. So that was wrong belief number 7. Wrong belief number 8. We are proceeding to the end. We will manage during the storm. No, you won't, is my answer. When the storm comes, visibility drops, panic rises, people are not available, traffic blocks access, instructions are forgotten, water comes faster than expected. And if you are still sinking during the storm, you are already too late. Sorry to say. Protection must be done before the first raindrop. Before the first raindrop. Protection must be done before the first raindrop. I think I need a jingle. Oops, that was the wrong one. Okay.
Flood Protection Secrets, the podcast to the protection against heavy rain and flooding, by Dr. Flood, Andreas Klippe.
Okay, so let's continue with the wrong belief number 9 out of 10 about flood protection. We cannot afford proper protection. Here is the truth. If you think good flood protection is expensive, try a flood. The cost of damaged machinery, ruined inventory, downtime, destroyed infrastructure, repairs, replacements, lost customers, lost reputation is far higher than the cost of prevention. Flood protection is not an expense, it is an insurance for survival. Wrong belief number 10, the last one, about flood protection. We will wait until next year. How often do I hear that? Waiting is gambling. And as we say, if you want to gamble, go to the casino. But when it comes to flood protection, play it safe. Storms do not wait for your budget planning. They do wait for approvals. They do not wait for the right timing. If you have already been flooded once, if you are guaranteed to be flooded, you are guaranteed to be flooded again. If you have already been flooded once, you are guaranteed to be flooded again. That's the answer to we will wait until next year. Yes, that was the last of the 10 wrong beliefs about flood protection. I hope that I could clarify it a little bit. If you have missed part 1 and part 2 of this Flood Safety Masterclass Trilogy, then please, you're welcome to listen to it again. Part 1 is about the hidden weak points, the hidden 7 weak points, and part number 2 is the 6 human costs of flooding. And number 3, this one is about the 10 wrong beliefs about flood protection. But I don't want to end before I haven't shared my golden nugget with you. Here it comes. Flood protection fails long before the water arrives. It fails in the mind. Wrong beliefs cause wrong decisions. Wrong decisions cause unnecessary damage. But when beliefs change, behavior changes. And when behavior changes, protection becomes possible. Flood safety begins in the mind, long before the first barrier is installed. You now know the 10 dangerous beliefs that lead to disaster. Choose one action today. Just one. Schedule a site assessment. Walk around your building after rain. Check your weak points. Evaluate your barriers. Talk to your architect. Talk to your facility manager. Start a maintenance plan. Do not wait for the next storm. Do not wait for the next headline. Do not wait for the next Paolo, Tino, or Uvan, or these Philippine names for these typhoons, cyclones, or hurricanes. The next storm is forming somewhere right now. Prepare today, survive tomorrow. That is what I encourage you to do. And if you want to learn more what real, reliable flood protection looks like, connect with me on LinkedIn. I'm Andreas Klippe. German engineer, entrepreneur, and book author. Send me a message with Masterclass and I will send you the complete summary of this trilogy. This was the final part of the Flood Safety Masterclass Trilogy. Part 1 showed you the 7 hidden weak points. Part 2 showed you the 6 human cost factors. And Part 3 revealed the 10 wrong beliefs that lead to disaster. So thank you for joining this short journey toward stronger, safer, smarter protection. Stay safe and flood free.
I wish and hope for you that you make the right decisions when it comes to your personal flood protection. And if you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe to this podcast channel if you haven't already. Now it only remains for me to wish you a good day. Do something with it. Maybe until the next podcast episode. I would be very happy. See you then. As always, stay safe and flood free. Your Andreas Klippe and the whole Flood Experts team.
That's it again with the new episode of Flood Protection Secrets, the podcast by Dr. Flood Andreas Klippe, German engineer, book author, and head of the Flood Experts. What can Dr. Flood Andreas Klippe protect for you? Anytime? Worldwide? Contact us or just click through to www.floodexperts.de/bonus. Detailed engineering, German quality, safe. Flood protection secrets. The secrets you'll want to unfold.
Don't forget, you're only one flood barrier away.
Subscribe to the season, and you'll never be late for an episode.